My guest is former Imo State Governor, who is currently a Senator, Rochas, who wants to be President of Nigeria. Senator Okorocha, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you, Terry.
Let's talk about your biggest interest, though. The 2023 presidential election. You'd like to be president of this country. How would you describe the reactions that have trailed your declaration?
What kind of reactions? There are many reactions. What specific type of reactions?
It's your,
well, there are so many reactions that has. But I think you should know better. But for whatever it's worth, I think most Nigerians believe me because of some of the things I raised, some of the key issues I raised, which ranges from the unity of this country, for us to enhance the unity of this country, and I can do that. I think Nigerians believe me for that. They believe that when Rochas says he will unite this country, being the president, that he will do so. Primarily because of my track record, so what I've done across the whole nation. I don't segregate tribe nor religion. I see Nigeria. So I raise that point that this must be a campaign point for 2023 as to who can really make stronger the unity of this country. And you wouldn't say you will do that based on promises that I will, but you must show that you've done that. So I was able to let the people understand that that's what I've done. The other point was the issue of somebody who cares, who really loves this country. So it's one thing for you to want to lead the people that you may not love them. You might love only your people, or you might love only your religion, but you don't love the entire Nigeria, and you want to lead the whole Nigeria. That's where the problem starts. And I'm able to prove that I have a compassionate heart, that I really care, and I love this country, and especially to the needy, to the poor, the widows, that I've been able to listen to their cries. Well, through my foundation, I've done a lot across the nation, irrespective of tribe or religion. So I don't see tribes, I see Nigeria. Take for instance, what took me to Kano 24 years ago. I don't know Kano State, and it was my concern for the situation there that took me by establishing the Rochas Foundation. That place and many parts of this country. So, the point I'm making there, that's what Nigeria needs. Then the very last important point I raised in my declaration address was the issue of the economy of the country. What would you say that is really wrong with our economy? And what magic, what new am I bringing in 2023? And I think that should be the pivot upon which all campaigns must rotate. Because you can't give what you don't have, and you cannot say, I will do this, I will do this. Well, in your life history, there has not been any traces of ability to create wealth. Some of the key issues I raised on that particular discussion. So the economy was a major issue. And I assured them, I assured Nigerians that, listen, I'll create wealth. I will engage the youth. They should be the pivot upon which the wheel of my new economy will rotate and anchored on technology. This is just some of the points I read that make people react,
Okay, we'll talk about your track record and what you intend to do. But let's talk about the APC now. With regard to your presidential ambition, it doesn't seem like you're finding favor or will find favor within the APC, considering that even back home, the APC in Imo State doesn't seem to be on the same page as you. In fact, they're asking you to resign from the Senate. Are you worried that you may not find favor, considering how things are for you now within the APC?
Terry, let me just summarize this. I may not have the high and mighty, but I have the people, and I have God. Now, I don't want to go too spiritual because that will change the narratives now. I have the people. That you cannot deny me. And what I believe so much in the people, and I believe that Democracy must be of the people, by the people, and for the people, and with the people, but not necessarily of the cabals, by the cabals, and for the cabals. Now we're going to see a complete new Nigeria in 2023, where the power will reside with the people, and the people will determine how they can be governed, and what they want, and how it should be done. And I'm beginning to dramatize this from now. And you're going to be so surprised to see how the people will take power and give to he that they believe that can hold the power in on their own behalf. That's what you're going to see play out. But if you're asking whether I'm within the cycle of APC cabals that will say sit down and stand up, that I tell you I don't have the qualifications and the certificates to be inside there. But there are two groups of leaders you have in the world. Those made by the cabals and those made by the people. And those ones made by the cabals have always been a failure to the people because they're alien to the people reject them. I want my power to come from the people. Period. That's what we are trying to say. And it is wrong for one person to speak and you say the people have spoken. And that has been the practice of politics in the days past. But now there's going to be a total new approach to democracy in Nigeria, and I can envision that it will come to be. So what gives me confidence is that I have the people. And if you ask all the people to come out now, let's line up and see who the people support. I tell you, there'll be no basis for comparison.
You know, that doesn't answer the question of whether you are confident of the support of the APC. Yes, there's the bill, Constitutional Amendment Bill, for independent candidacy, no doubt. It's not been signed, it's not been passed either. Just in case that doesn't turn out a reality, if the APC doesn't give you the flag.
Are you saying that if APC doesn't, what would be the reason why APC will not give me the flag? So you're making the APC, well, you know what you think? You're making the APC look like 7 people's property or 20 persons' property. No, I'm telling you that the people that will vote, the delegates belong to people. These are the people. We are going to have close to about 8,000 to 9,000 delegates. Maybe out of these 9,000 delegates, you have only 500 of these so-called big politicians who are here in Abuja, but every vote counts.
But does that say that you are confident of getting it?
I'm more than confident that
what happens
I
when
will.
you don't get it?
I'm not even giving that as a second thought because it doesn't exist in my brain yet. Because I see the victory. I know how the people feel towards me. I understand how this politics is playing out. What is likely to happen the same day, if I might be prophetic about it, is that you're going to see a candidate arising from the so-called political cabals now, and another candidate arising from what's called anointed candidate. And you see one by the people, and you see that's where I will be actually. I see myself being a candidate for the people, and they're going to cast their vote.
Your travels with the EFCC, and not to mention that of the Imo State government, may stand in the way of your political ambition. Is that something you're concerned about? The forfeiting assets, your account is frozen. How are you going to fund your campaign?
I wish I don't make comment on EFCC matter because it's becoming a recurring decimal or daily basis how to speak on this EFCC matter. But to satisfy some of the audience curiosity as to what is happening, my journey with EFCC started 5 months before my leaving office as governor. That was when I understood clearly there was something up the sleeve. When EFCC froze the account of Imo State government, all the accounts of Imo State government, and took over the running of the government of Imo State by paying salaries directly. So every month I have to write to say this is the salary you pay to the workers, and if they close the account of the pension, no pension was being paid, and they said they could wait for the new governor to come. That was said to me, that was very unusual. And if you recall at that time, that was when the issue of my Senate and Durex, that I won Senate from under duress, and Uchenwos, who won the governorship, was denied.
Won the governorship?
Uchenwos, who won the governorship 1 billion times over. He won the governorship. Uchenwos, who came first. Emeka Ihedioha came second. Arume came third.
Where did you get this? Where did you get this result from? That's not the result presented by INEC.
No, that's the result. And I tell you what happened. That's what is the manipulation I tell about. As at the last minute, Uchenwos was leading with 41,000 votes out of with 200 and something. I can't remember the figures. But what happened was there was 3 local governments called Mbise, Abambise, Mbise, and Ezinhite Mbise. 3 local governments. And at that time, the total vote of Uchenwos was about 190 something, 200 something thousand. Emeka was 100 something for something thousand. Now, you could imagine that the 3 local governments came out and brought 130 something thousand votes. That was the biggest democratic fraud in the history. And with that also, the interesting thing that Emeka Ihedioha never met the 2/3 as provided in the Constitution. He had only 9 local governments. And he's supposed to have 18 local governments, at least 25%. He never made it. And he was announced a governor. And Uchenwos came second to him. And Uchenwos had 18 local governments leading. So that's why I said Uchenwos won. And that's what the whole trouble going on in Imo State politically today, that people lost confidence in the whole electoral process because of that injustice. So when that came up, they just said, instead of Uchenwos, in-law to Rochas announced, but they virtually gave Uchenwos second position. But you know what is it that will be the worst in history of judiciary? Is that the 2/3 issue as provided in the Constitution was never discussed till today. And it was clear, even Chane announced that Emeka is having the high number despite the manipulation, but he doesn't have the 2/3. How can you swear somebody in without 2/3? Chinese announced that. So let me go back before you distracted me when I was talking about EFCC. So that was my story with EFCC when they had froze my account, and this issue of Uchenwos election and my issue of my Senate. They refused to give me my certificate. I never refused to give me my certificate. So I now understood that some big players, the same cabals now, are using the EFCC to frustrate my political effort. So that story started from there. It was when I envisaged that danger that made me rush to the Federal High Court to enforce my fundamental human rights. And I got the first order from a court of competent jurisdiction, Federal High Court, and said, look, for the traces and threats of what is going on, don't arrest this man, don't harass him, don't take his property, don't do anything, many things. And I got a judgment to return my certificate from INEC. Now I was refused to give the certificate. And until after they have chosen the principal officers of the Senate, before they called me to give my certificate. Now, with that order, I felt I was on the right track. Shortly after that, guess what happened? The Imo State government wrote a petition again to EFCC to probe me. And meanwhile, Imo State government have put up a panel, 11 different panels to probe me also. Remember, I had a court order. Then I quickly ran back to court again of competent jurisdiction, Federal High Court. I said, tell me who should really probe me and investigate me. Now, my matter was called double jeopardy. Imo State government or EFCC. Give me one person. And that case was on. When, despite the court order, EFCC announced that they've recovered 5.9 billion from my account. Remember, they froze the whole account of Imo State. So they took one of the accounts frozen in Imo State account, which was under their custody, to say they got it from me. That gave me a shock. My name went everywhere as a criminal. So I confronted EFCC. EFCC, why show me where the 5.9 billion is? Till today, as I speak to you, no comment. This is Nigeria. Then EFCC refused to obey the court order. EFCC, I took them to court with Imo State government for double jeopardy. They disregarded the order. EFCC went and arrested me and kept me for 2 nights. And I told him I have an order. They say I must make a statement. I said, well, I can't make any statement here. Give me time to go back and bring the information because I've been there for 8 years. That didn't sink well with the EFCC. When I came out of the cell, I went back to Attorney General's office. I said, Attorney General, I had a court order against Attorney General, against police, against SS, against this. Look at what is happening. And I put my case in Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office again wrote to the EFCC, looking at the order and looking at the case in court about double jeopardy, and said, listen, take cognizance of this case in court and obey the court order and release my passport. That again fell to deaf ears of EFCC. When I saw there was danger, that even the supervisory ministry, having directed them, they were not doing that because the political cabals were all over manipulating the system. So I went to a federal high court in Port Harcourt where was investigating my case, where they said they got a warrant of arrest. And I said, suspend that warrant of arrest. It's illegally gotten because there was a court order. Now, after that, guess what is interesting? I got a judgment against the EFCC saying all those investigations, those unlawful investigations that you did about me during my 8 years is unlawful because there was an order, matter was in court, you deceived the court. And for that reason, you cannot continue to investigate him as you have done, and setting aside all the investigations I've done. EFCC now went back to the original court where I got the order, first order, and asked the judge to recuse himself, petitioned the judge. Now came back to where I got this final judgment and went back to ask the judge to set aside his judgment that it was unlawfully gotten. Now, while they are doing that, the day I was declaring for president, I heard that EFCC have arraigned me before the court. Now remember, about 3 court orders surrounding my case, none has EFCC. But each one, they asked the judge to recuse himself. But now, so EFCC have gone to court, which means they will not obey the order of the court. They don't believe in that court. But now, they've asked the local to recuse himself. But they are now going to the court where they think they cannot believe. So if they get judgment from that court, then that one will stand. But the one I have is rubbish. So this is where we are. So I believe that that's why I agree with those, and I agree with myself to say it's political.
So that's why you went to the president?
That's why I went to the president. In fact, after all this, I said, let me tell the president what's
So what was the president's reaction?
The president told me that he was going to look into it. And I gave him the judgments, I gave him the court orders, I gave him everything. Then, remember, I have a judgment about my properties not to be touched. The same property that I bought, property that I've had for more than 15 years before becoming a governor. It's the property that EFCC have went and get order. What is called interim forfeiture. People don't understand that interim forfeiture means, interim what means they went to your back to the court and told the court some convincing story why they must take your property. Such as, if you don't get this order now, this man is about to sell this property which we're investigating. So the court will quickly grant. It's called interim forfeiture. Grant you. But remember that I had a judgment. They didn't tell the court that I had judgment. And secondly, a property that's worth over 10 billion is what you say 200 million was traced for the renovation. That's where we are with EFCC. But I believe that, I hope EFCC will stop raising these doors because I'm into this election process.
Who do you think is responsible for this? Because you sound pretty sure that this is...
I'm 100% sure, but the anchor person will easily be detected as the governor of Imo State. It's the anchor, but it's not the main person. He's the one that is being used because he doesn't possess such powers to do. But he's one that is being used, as because he's one to give all the information. He's the one.
And you know this how?
Because I know how, because the petition I saw from EFCC was written by his Attorney General, and I have a copy of it to say, look at what you wrote, which is false.
Was the state government wrong to have written a petition? I mean, you were a former governor of the state, and as you rightly pointed out, you're being investigated by the state by a number of panels set up, and came up with recommendations as well, which have been on for about 2 years now. So was the state government wrong to have written the petition, considering the result of its panel?
Well, if you're going to set up a panel, you don't have to write a petition. Deal with your panel. Why do you have to write a petition on the same issue? And if you're written petition, allow the EFCC to do their job. It's simple. Why would you? That's the double jeopardy I'm talking about.
There are concerns that if you become president, you will run the country like you did Imo State.
Beautiful.
You think you did well in Imo State? What are some of the achievements that you could point to in Imo State that you believe should be replicated at the national level?
One, education must be made free. Free. And every child must be a child of Nigeria, irrespective of background and religion. First and foremost, the 14.5 million out of school children in Nigeria, I will first of all adopt them as my children and send them back to school. That I will do. If I have to sacrifice another thing. That's one policy that Rochas started. I started what you call youth must work. You must work. Roaming around the street is not allowed. There must be something God has given you as a talent. Give it to us. Because you are making God look like a liar that he created you without a purpose. So give it to us and we shall help you to enhance it. Youth Must Work took place in Imo State. That saw us engage 25,000 youths. This country can afford it. Community government. I'm not going to stop my government at federal, state, and local government. I would take it to the community. Here I would redefine democracy as the government of the people, by the people, for the people, and with the people, giving traditional rulers a role to play. Because if we can get it right at the community level, the nation will be stronger. Can I tell you how nations are formed? Great nations. One, great nations are formed by good family system and good family values. After the family, then you have the community. If the community and the family is right, local government will be right, state will be right, federal will be right. That's why I define democracy and bring in community government, which most of you laughed at that time and said, what do you mean by community government? You are running a four-tier government. I say, yes, that's the best government because it brings out the culture of the people to play into the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I strongly believe in that third point of community government. These are what I will introduce as I just do as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And things will begin to grow up. It's called bottom-top approach in governance. Outside that, I want to tell you let me say what some of the things I've done, which you don't even know. The best cargo airport today in Nigeria was built by Rochas and it's there. Ask questions, anything I say. One of the best high court in this country, I built it, we built it as a rescue mission. The police headquarters, just like into this one in Abuja here, not as big, but bigger in space. I built it. Prisons, command, I built it. Now I built 27 general hospitals, finished without furnishing and landscaping. But I was building for the future, built by this government. The first ever government house, the first ever chapels in all the 27 local governments of Imo State. ICT centers, 27 of them in numbers. Now, I built more schools than in the history of Imo State put together by any governor. I built more hospitals, more roads. I opened up Owerri City, urban renewal. First to introduce 8-lane roads across the entire length and breadth of the cities of Owerri. That I did. I built aged homes for retirees and pension homes for our listeners, where they can come and receive,
How many roads did you say you built?
I built more than 1,000 rural roads. But I say I built more roads than the history of that state here together. I opened up Owerri and made real estate a heavy business.
Because till date, the road networking, road infrastructure in Imo State is still a sorry state.
I don't understand. What do you mean by sorry state? If you say there are roads not maintained, then I can agree with you.
It's maintenance that's the problem.
Maintenance is a problem. So it's not that there are no roads in Imo State. There are more than enough roads. And that was built by me in the city. In fact, most of the roads that are now commissioning, or some of the properties that are commissioned, were built by me.
Well, while you count your gains as governor of Imo State, when you look back at your time as governor, do you have any regrets? Some things you should have done better?
Absolutely. I can't remember of any. But the question I ask myself, which again I'm happy with, is sacrifice for a people. Is it worth it? When you could run a state without having what you call security votes, you sacrifice your security votes. You bought your cars yourself, you fed yourself, that you might have money to pay for other children's school fees. That's sacrifice. That's the highest level of sacrifice. Was it really what it is? It's worth it. I'm happy with that. So there's no regret. Again, what some of the things, initiatives I had that people never understood was something like Ministry of Happiness and purpose fulfillment. The erection of the tourist section of our economy, the statues that made people, it gave them a big laugh in this country. And sometimes I just wonder, they are laughing and I'm laughing. And as to say who actually is right or who is wrong, forgetting that, you know, the status story of Imo State is perhaps the best beautiful tourism story you can ever have, that brought in 5 sitting heads of state and broke the protocol of non-international airport becoming international airport overnight. That those statues brought people like Zuma, Salif Johnson, Nana Akufo-Addo, president of Sierra Leone.
How did that benefit the state?
This became the highest tourist attraction. It created every Christmas during our carnival. You have more than hundreds and thousands of people coming there. You know what they do? The jobs for the photographers. I'm coming with revenue for the state. We make a lot of revenue.
If you quantify the revenue, how much would you estimate it to be?
I don't have the figures here. I don't have the figures here. The ministry involved can give you the figures. But that became, let me tell you what happened. And economy started overnight. People came from Port Harcourt, from neighboring states, from all over the country, coming to see this Hall of Fame, coming to listen to the greatness of these people. It was the first time people knew that President Zuma never went to school.
I think it's interesting that you cannot quantify the value of the revenue generated from that. But beyond that,
yes.
While you say you have no regrets, do you not regret trying to impose your in-law on your people, the party as well? Also, you're accused of converting government lands to family property. You don't have any regrets in that regard as well?
These are all lies. They are all fabricated fallacies which does not reflect any practical realities, Terry. One, I never converted any land of government to my person. And I challenge the whole world again on television to show me one legal land allocated to myself as a governor of Imo State, or to any member of my family. It will shock you. These are propaganda. What the only land allocated to my foundation was Rochas Foundation College, Oji. Now, this college, the poor children from the governor's house that could not go to school, from his village, are all attending school in that place. Over 1,000 poor children, orphans, are going to school. Tell you what is wrong if I allocate land to Rochas Foundation College to help out with poor children not going to school. Is that anything wrong with that? Absolutely not wrong. I will do it and do it again and again and again.
Your estate was recently sealed and raised coins.
Let me just finish. Concerning Uche Nwosu, I want you to concentrate on this interview. Very important, because it goes beyond me and you, it goes to the whole world. So let's get it right and get it well. When we stop, we can continue. The issue of Uche Nwosu, the question you should have asked, what do you mean by imposition? Impose a popular candidate? If Uche Nwosu was never loved by the people, he wouldn't have won the election. And even if you say he came second, he wouldn't have beaten the likes of Hope Uzodimma, who now became a governor from fourth position. So it is neither there nor there. I was just, of all the people aspiring for that governorship, that was the only one accepted by the people. And because he's my in-law. You know what's called in-law means? In-law means somebody you don't even know before, who your daughter by haptance fell in love with. Uche Nwosu used to be my PA. Uche Nwosu was a child of poor parentage. You know what we call catechist? So even Uche Nwosu falling in love with my daughter or marrying my daughter is a miracle of God. Because as Rochas Okorocha, that I have assumed that my daughter will get married to one big man's son. So I would do what we normally do. And I hear that a PA to my DG he's married my daughter. You know what you write? Even you carry gun and pursue him.
No, I wouldn't.
You will.
No.
You will.
No, absolutely not.
It's easier said than done. Now, but if such a young man has gotten that kind of favor from God, and we have such favor to have him as a wonderful son-in-law, I love him.
Was he popular among the APC as well? Because he eventually had to leave the APC because of that alleged imposition.
Have you forgotten about Gulag? Didn't he defeat Hope Uzodinma in primary and all those who contested?
My point is, if he was as popular as you claim, why did he have to leave the APC?
He left APC after Oshimole administration now imposed through Gulag manipulation, imposed Hope as the candidate. Young man was still popular. He went to a party 2 weeks to election and defeated everybody. 2 weeks to election, defeated everybody. And they say he came second. Okay, assuming he came second. Did he not defeat Hope Uzodinma? Can Hope Uzodinma come to that and say that he defeated Uche? He would never say that. He would never say that. So
will he run again?
Nothing will stop him from running. I don't know. This is a man of his own.
The structure in most states to go up against Hope Uzodinma to win an election.
I'm the father of the party. You forgot that I'm the APC in Imo. Still tomorrow I'm the APC. I'm the father of APC. I'm one of the fathers of APC nationwide. Let me tell you those that I own the party. President Mohamed Buhari, CPC, Aswaja Tinubu, SCN, Yari Ogbonan and the rest of the former governors under NPP, Rochas, Okrocha, APGA, till tomorrow. So the structure of the party is still in my hand. You can hold the top, but we'll hold it down.
Your Excellency, you were, should I say you still are, but before politics, you were a philanthropist. You seemed like a billionaire at the time. I wouldn't know how much money you had at the time, but that was what it seemed. And then you went into politics, and it would seem now that the good name which you had before politics is near tainted. When you look back...
Who told you that? Who said that?
I mean, look at the travels. Look at what you're going through. Look at the accusations against you. You were...
Go ahead.
I think it's interesting that you don't think that your name seems to raise some dust. But do you have any regrets going into politics?
Well, good question. You know what? I have two persons in me. One, the ambitious external person, and the visionary inside person. They are always in conflict in my same body. That's why my ambitious person, which is what you see, tells me, get out of politics. Don't run politics. You are comfortable. You have a home. You have everything. Your children are doing well. You are blessed. Listen, gentlemen, I'm blessed. Thank God. Alhamdulillah. I'm blessed by all ramifications. And I was Rochas before government. I had Rochas Foundation. But before this, I had assets. So, but my outside person that tells me not to run is the one that seeks for comfort. Travel, go abroad, enjoy yourself with your family, live the AA plus life. But my inside person that cares for the poor, the needy, is telling me, you have a role to play. You just have to make the sacrifice. And that's what I'm getting the bashes for. So I don't regret going to politics because I'm not going out of ambition, but out of vision. Because I just believe crazily that something I have that can change the story of Nigeria in such a supersonic speed. That is what is driving me, and I want to test it to the world. And what will be my profit? My profit will be sometimes 100 years to come, that my name will be written somewhere in the book of new Nigeria as that man who came and changed Nigeria for good. That's what I'm seeing. Singapore, at independence, you know how much was their per capita income? Slightly above $515, $517 per capita income. Nigeria then at independence was $1,400 per capita income. Today, Singapore is 60,000 per capita income, and Nigeria is 2,250 per capita income. But individuals just...
What do you think is responsible for that?
It's all about leadership, about vision, about vision.
Do you think that
about vision? You see, there's what is called leadership and vision.
Your Excellency, do you think that the APC government since 2015 has shown that leadership and vision based on the statistics that you've just rolled out?
It is relative. When you talk about APC government, you talk about President Muhammad Buhari's government.
That's the only APC government that we know.
Wait. This is where you get it wrong. This APC government, you have what's called Muhammad Buhari's government. You have Rochas government of Imo State. You have Wike's government of Rivers. The Ayabello government of Kogi. Bagudu government of Kebbi. There are different governments. There you have for local government for Usman Omar.
When you speak on national issues,
so I'm telling you,
APC government at the center.
I know. So what question are you asking me now? If you're talking about APC government, okay, let me agree with you. If you don't want to separate it, because these are pocket of leaderships, you should hold each person responsible for what he's supposed to do. You might now hold President Muhammad Buhari for being responsible for deadly killings in Imo State. Is that what you want to tell me? Yes. Okay.
I was specific with my question.
If the government had done what was supposed to do, maybe there was no need to send military and send first there. So this is you must agree that it takes a lot.
You rolled out statistics compared Singapore to Nigeria, GDP per capita.
Yes.
And then you stated clearly that it was about leadership and vision.
That's right.
And if you look at the state of the country now, debt profile is high, unemployment rate is high. We have inflation rate extremely high as well.
Okay.
I'm asking you if the leadership and vision has been lacking in this country since the APC administration, which I know you would want to turn to the PDP, which many would say didn't do well either. But the hope for many at the time was that when the APC steps into power, some of these things will change. They got worse.
Okay.
They got worse. So I'm asking you if it was because of a lack of leadership and vision within the APC.
That's why I say it's relative. Can you listen to me, land? Number one, let me calm down. I'll give you everything. The question you should be asking, and I just said to you, you don't want to listen to that. You want to listen to who to now. Now, the question I'm asking you is relative. Because the problem of your country, gentlemen, this nation, is that your problem is more than your income. Now, for every 1 billion naira problem of Nigeria has only 10,000 to solve it. That is the problem. And I'm telling you, whether Buhari or another government put together who is not able to create this, to apply this, my vision, you still have the same story. So, because if you say now, say Buhari has not done well by what? Is Buhari a thief? Now you say corruption. Is Buhari corrupt? No, Buhari has taken the whole money of Nigeria, as you said, Rochas did. Buhari has taken the whole land of FCT, as you said, Rochas did.
This new vision that you talk about must still be tied back to the questions that are needed to be asked.
Yes.
And it must go back to what is, and what is hoped to be. The APC government since 2015 till now would be judged going into 2023 based on what's on ground. So I ask you this. When you look at the Buhari administration in its final lap now, how would you rate this administration?
Let me put it substantially clear to you. Let me say it to clear. So you can go to market with your price, no? One is, since you don't answer, let me put direct the way you want me to answer it, which is to say that Buhari has done well within the resources available to him, but needed to create more wealth. Does that sound like a question? And lack of that creation of more wealth into the system is what is called the apparent poverty of Nigeria, which does not reflect the practical realities. Does that sound straight and strong? So you don't think I'm avoiding your questions?
Senator Okorocha, well, we're almost out of time now, but let me ask you this. We've seen a number of persons come forward to declare their intentions. You, of course, are one of them. Is there anyone that makes you quake? Is there anyone that makes you worried
Like, hold on, give me a second. Give me a second.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
if you have names, why are you asking me?
I
don't
mean,
know.
you know the people. Are you that confident?
Tell you know you're smart, you know.
I'm not trying to outweigh to be smart. I'm just saying. I'm trying to weigh your confidence.
Let me tell you, if I find anyone whom I think knows what I know or do what I do, I subsume my ambition.
How does it feel going up against the leader of your party?
Who is the leader?
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I have tremendous respect for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's a rugged fighter. I like him for what he stands for. But you know what? I want you one day to call all the aspirants, all of us, if people can do that, and engage everybody to tell us what can you do to change the story of Nigeria. This is where I think I'll stand out. This is where I will tell you, and I'll practicalize it. Because let me tell you, what I hold against Nigerian politicians is fake promises. Lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. What you know you cannot do, you say you will do. And when eventually you deceive the people and get authority, you start blaming past government.
Are you referring to the APC?
No, I'm not about politicians in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with the APC.
Well, that's the same thing that's been said of the APC, that the promises.
All of PDP.
So that's the same thing you're doing now. You're blaming the past government.
No, I'm not. I said this is what happens that people blame. I'm talking about individuals now. Forget about party. Now, let me tell you something. You see, if you talk about party, we don't even have party in Nigeria based on our ideology. Our ideology is we don't have party based on this is extreme right, extreme left, center. We don't have. In fact, the manifesto of one is a manifesto of another. It's just a vehicle. That's why you could see politicians moving from one party to another party. Party is just a vehicle. So when you talk about party, talk about individual. Forget about the party. Because the party does not govern. It takes an individual in the party to govern. Have I confused about this? So you don't ever talk about APC, PDP. Look for the individuals. Because if you ask APC people, how is government being run in Nigeria? They will even say, I don't even know. How does the chairman in my state know how APC is being run? No, they don't know nothing. So hold the leaders responsible. APC is just a vehicle. PDP is a vehicle, like a bus that carries you to where you go and do your work. That's what it is. So people keep confusing this, and that's why not helping matters. Now I'm talking to you about leadership and what they like, how they talk about it. What you should do now, ask Rochas, what have you done before for this nation to believe you that you can do it as a president? Ask all the aspirants. You see where I stand out. You see why I'm the right president of this country. Because you can't deceive. You can't change your character. But when you are 50 years, that's why they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever. You can't change your character because you are a president. Has any president exhibited any different character from who he was before? So what if I tell you today that I'm going to make education free? You tell you will believe me. Because I have so many schools across this country with over 25,000 children, poor children. If I tell you that I can create wealth and make this country become the richest country in Africa in the world, believe me, because if you look at my track record of from poverty to grace, then you can believe I can do it. But not when somebody comes to tell you that. What have you done? I was working for a party. They made me this. From there, I became governor. From governor, I became this. Who were you before going to public office? If we don't know who you are, then we don't want to know who you are, even when you go to government. That's where you're supposed to emphasize. That's where the truth will come out.
Just before we go, Your Excellency, Mr. Femi Falana is of the opinion that the clamor for power to shift is irrelevant. The conversation should be more about the quality of the candidate. Does this silence the clamor for power to shift to the South now? And with that, if we look at the Southeast and the concerns there as to whether or not the Southeast can come together and have a consensus candidate ahead of the 2023 general elections, you see that possibility happen?
I don't even understand, tell you, why this nation is so... Whatever entity can concern Southeast, they have some coinages to make it look impossible. I think this is what I don't really understand. Because when you talk about Igbo man become presidency, that's what president. That's when you hear about Igbo presidency. But yet in the history, you never heard about how South Yoruba, Efik, job presidency. Only when it comes to Igbos, you hear Igbo presidency. When it comes to Igbo man becoming president, you hear consensus. Was there ever a consensus in the north or southwest or south-south? When Olufala, His Excellency and His Excellency Obasanjo ran, was there a consensus? When Atiku ran with our dear president, was there a consensus? Didn't Nigeria find it fit and proper that that area should produce these leaders? Unless you're saying the entire Southeast, you can't find somebody with a vision that can run the affairs of this country. It's a different kind of fish. But when we talk about this zoning thing, I'm not for zoning, but I'm for equity and justice. The only thing that makes me support this idea is because out of the tripod, the three legs upon which this nation is built, the Hausa, Yoruba, and the Igbo, the two have a shot at the presidency, only one leg. And if you don't do that, they will not have a sense of belonging, period. But after this period, everybody should listen. It should be according to who you are, what you can offer to the nation. But what I tell Nigerians, don't throw away Igbos. It might be where the new Nigeria will be coming from. It might be the last hope of this nation. It might be the Nigeria of our collective dreams and aspiration. Don't throw them away. Don't throw them away. You might be throwing the future of Nigeria away. Don't throw Igbos away. Don't treat them like they're nobody. Don't, I advise. Because that you've been waiting for might be coming from the east.
So should the APC zone it to the south?
It's not even about, it's not about zoning. The word zoning means they should consider the southeast. And there's a trial. You know, there's one
Trial?
Let me tell you, I'm trying to use the word that will appease the people, the owners of democracy of this land. One, you know, there are some spare players you're never allowed to play. They're always on the bench. Like Salah. Never allowed to play before he started. The day he started playing, they realized that was a champion. Allow this spare player that will be benching all this time. Allow them to come to the field and see what they can do. Whether they will not change the history of this country. Tell you, it's possible. And for my love for this country, my prayer for Nigeria, let a new Nigeria emerge. A new Nigeria devoid of poverty and killings anymore. A new Nigeria where children can go to school. A new Nigeria where there will be electricity, where there will be plenty, and our youth wearing suits, engaging in the technological development of our nation, our resources now commanding respect in the remotest part of the whole world, and Nigerians are singing a new song of joy. No more tribalism or ethnicity or religion.
All right, Your Excellency, just before we go, you have rated the Buhari administration. I think it's only fair to have you rate your state. Rate Governor Hope Uzodinma in the past 2+ years. It's, you know, he assumed power just before COVID hit. And at the time, it was a challenge to put things together, but things have sort of picked up now. How do you think he has fared, in all honesty?
From the stories I get back home, the governor have not started. I think he will start. He may start soon, but he has not started at all. Not at all. Not in anything. I mean, that he could start now. Who knows? But he has not started. And if he has started, I'd like to hear what he has done.
What do you expect of him that he's yet to do?
I wish he had listened to me. I wish he had brought me close. That I wish to be close to him, to guide him on how to govern that great state. One of the greatest states in Nigeria, Imo. Very simple human being. Nice, wonderful people if you understand them. They don't need to relate with you. You can relate with them. You can't govern people from afar. You have to come down home and be with the people and stop creating the political tensions.
So the governor should seek your help.
Yes, he should do that to return the state back to its glory. He should do that because it looks like the misplacement of priorities. What preoccupies your mind is on how to stay in power and remain in power and control power and deal with power. You can't see beyond your nose. That's what is happening in Imo State. And that's what's typical of Nigerian politicians. Let me tell you, 99.99% politicians of Nigeria are looking only up to 2023. They don't see beyond 2023. How to win election, how to manipulate, how to get power, not how to govern. And that's why when the power comes in their hand, confusion is there, killings, everything, you know. So Imo governor needs to sit up and start governance and stop politics.
Now that you mentioned politicians who don't see beyond 2023, I recall that you had mentioned that the APC is likely to disintegrate or may not be able to live beyond President Muhammad Buhari. You want to run on the platform of that party. Do you still have that fear?
The fear is, you see, with the happenings, with the changes of our programs, it's a pointer to the danger that today we will not be able to have our convention. Now, this fear is multiplying. What if on the 28th, one doesn't come? Why they cannot hold the election anymore, convention? Maybe stop at the zonal convention and leave the central one. Then what would you think would be the intention? The intention would be the sitting NEC now will have to find themselves to conduct elections. This is where the issues will begin to raise. But I still have confidence in the president, in the person of President Muhammad Buhari. I still have absolute confidence that he will do the needful and take charge and take leadership and give this party direction, because I see him as a man of justice and fairness. Till today, the organs of our party are not functioning. They're not functioning. Nothing is functioning. Today, you see that there's so much rift in the party. Court judgments, like the one of Imo, is not obeyed. We see a court will say these are the executive, but the party will say no, it's not. So there are a lot of things that are going on. But with the recent meeting with the president and the 26th of March, let's hope it comes to pass. If it comes to pass as quickly as possible, that would have helped. Again, what the danger I envisage for the 26th is the manner in which the convention will be conducted. And this idea of telling people to go to their zones and come up with a candidate to fill the position zone to them, it will not work, because they have not been able to reconcile people properly. Now, what happens in the South is Andrew Bangige and George Moore and Rochas and Hope and many of them like that. In Abia, complete division. So how would they produce the list? Now you go to Lagos, Southwest, Asiwaju, Rauf, Fashola, Fayemi, Amuson. How would they sit down and get the list from Southwest? If it comes to the North, they added them. Matawale, the governor there, in the northern zone, Wamako, Alero. So how would you expect such? So there's still a lot to be done in the party. What I suggested to the party was simple: to get this right, and so we don't even go into this contest like we did before when we started the party. When these four parties come together, for God's sake, share these positions again to the founding parties. And it's easier for CPC to go and produce the chairman and secretary of the party, maybe, and some few positions. It's even easy for Asiwaju of ACA to produce the organizing secretary and deputy national chairman and some other positions. Very easy. Very easy for ANPP to go with their group and produce national legal advisor and some positions. Very easy for ABGA to go and produce a position as something. We did that before. It would be very peaceful. You know, see that if we go this way, they're going to have only one form sold. We have no more crisis. But nobody wants to do that. And we have people who just join the party. We also give them some position to go and produce. There'll be peace. But you see, APC might not listen to this until the crisis starts. Because those that you left out unjustly will naturally react. But there's this assumed thing that APC have counted their victory in 2023, even before starting. That was the behavior of PDP in the past. And we're trying to adopt that. That is wrong. We should come together, get the founding fathers of the party. Take, for instance, how do you think the whole Imo people will feel, the whole South-East will feel, if you hear that the governor of Imo State have come to send Rochas away in the party that he formed? You think I didn't have a structure? I didn't have people at that place? So they will not participate? That's the thing. How do you think you can do that with a Muslim? For instance. Or do that with Ngige? So there are a lot of things that we need to go and fix for us to win this victory. Because if we don't do that, and we just end up scattering the party, which is a needless effort, then it will not be good for us. And it will not be good that a party like this started with Buhari and died with Buhari's exit. God forbid.
Your Excellency, Senator Rochas Okorocha, thank you very much for your time on Political Paradigm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Well, that's Political Paradigm today. Thanks for your time. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.